The Federation of Galactic Stars was the unchallenged power in the known galaxy, a strong alliance of highly developed extraterrestrial species bound together by a common belief in their own dominance. For ages, they had exercised control and kept the peace over many realms. With their superior technology and overpowering military power, their ships, streamlined and powerful, sliced through the emptiness of space like silent predators. To them, humanity was nothing more than a primitive. Footnote: a new race, hardly noticeable. Humans were thought to be weak and naive, their technology rudimentary, mere replicas of the real breakthroughs achieved by the Federation's top scientists. At the forefront of this contemptuous viewpoint was Admiral Vortak, a seasoned commander, famous for his strategic thinking. His steadfast faith in the Federation's supremacy had led fleets into innumerable battles, always emerging victorious. Human ships, to him, were just floating debris, metal relics of a lower culture. He believed humans were reckless and undisciplined, lacking the innovation or discipline to be taken seriously. Today, on a routine patrol near human territory, Admiral Vortak's fleet was surveying a disputed zone, a low-priority area where minor skirmishes had occurred in the past. Vortak, bored with the lack of activity, was eager for even the smallest chance to assert his authority and remind humanity of its place. Midway through the patrol, Vortak's tactical officers reported an unidentified fleet on the edge of their sensor range. Examining the data, Vortak sneered. The ships were small, outdated, and lacked formation. Interlopers, he muttered dismissively as a grin spread across his face. He ordered his fleet to investigate, anticipating a swift and decisive engagement. The Federation ships moved into position with precise coordination, their weapon systems pulsed with energy, ready to fire on command. Vortak leaned back in his chair, fully expecting the human ships to crumble beneath the might of the Federation. But something unexpected happened. As the Federation fired their opening salvo, blinding bolts of energy aimed to overwhelm the humans. In an instant, the human ships stayed motionless. Vortak scowled, interpreting their stillness as incompetence. But just as the salvo approached, the human fleet came alive. The ships darted to the sides, avoiding the attack with impossible precision. They twisted and turned, making rapid adjustments that defied the laws of physics. Large vessels moved with agility that no ship of their size should have possessed. "How are they doing this?" Vortak muttered, his voice heavy with shock. His tactical officers scrambled to adjust targeting systems, but it was futile. The human ships moved unpredictably, vanishing from one location and reappearing in another without any visible use of warp technology. Federation sensors struggled to track them, and each shot missed its mark. As panic spread through the ranks, Federation ships found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Targeting systems failed, navigation charts glitched, and communication channels were filled with static. It was as if the humans were manipulating the battlefield itself. Vortak barked orders, his voice strained with frustration. He directed his fleet to regroup, attempting to encircle the human ships and force them into a confined space. But the humans anticipated every move, slipping through the gaps in the formation as though they were always one step ahead. The Federation's advanced weaponry, which had dominated countless battles, was rendered useless. Human ships danced through space, exploiting every weakness in the Federation's strategy. The once confident Admiral now felt the creeping chill of fear. He had underestimated humanity, and now, for the first time in his career, he was losing. As his fleet fell into disarray, Vortak ordered a retreat. Watching the human ships on the display, he realized they weren't just fighting, they were playing with his fleet, testing its limits, and exposing its vulnerabilities. For the first time, Admiral Vortak understood that humanity was no longer a primitive footnote in galactic history. They were a force that defied logic, a threat that could challenge even the mighty Federation of Galactic Stars. Electromagnetic pulses ignited only when the unaltered phasing of human ships moved through the energy fields, as if they were absent. Panic spread rapidly within the ranks of the Federation. A voice yelled amidst the chaos, "The pulses aren't over!" Communications faltered, halting the fleet. Vahax's eyes grew wide in shock. He realized the truth. The human vessels weren't merely dodging their attacks. They were anticipating them. When he changed his approach, it was as if the humans already knew. It felt like they could read his thoughts, playing moves in a game. He believed he controlled. A cold rush ran down Vahax's spine. "How is this possible?" he murmured, barely audible, as his officers exchanged terrified glances. The human ships moved with a confidence bordering on arrogance, soaring smoothly through Federation lines. They phased through energy fields as though mocking them, avoiding shields and striking critical points with surgical precision. The Federation fleet disintegrated under this relentless assault. Communications collapsed in the chaos, ships swerved or collided, and discipline evaporated. One by one, Federation vessels and their debris scattered into the void. Decades of dominance were crumbling into utter chaos. Pax's heart thundered in his chest as he watched the proud fleet fall apart. He had never faced an adversary like this. These humans weren't just strategists. They were dismantling his forces piece by piece with a terrifying ease and precision. For the first time, Vahax knew he was outmatched. He recognized that the Federation's superior technology and tactics were now obsolete against this new foe. His voice trembled as he ordered, "Retreat immediately, before we're destroyed." As the remaining Federation vessels limped to safety, Vahax stared at the tactical screen, bewildered. He had thought this would be just another skirmish, another show of Federation power. But this was something far greater. Humanity was no longer an emerging species. They were a threat, one that could challenge the Federation's very foundations. Back aboard the flagship, Vahax paced, his thoughts racing. He summoned an emergency council with his top officers. The room buzzed with hushed discussions, but no one had answers. "I need theories," he snapped, cutting through the silence. "Anything to help us understand what we're dealing with." A pale-faced scientist stepped forward, clutching a data pad. "Admiral," they began, voice unsteady, "we've analyzed the sensor data. It appears the human ships are using a combination of quantum gravity field manipulation and space-time distortion. They're bending the very fabric of reality around their vessels, allowing them to move in ways we thought impossible." The room fell into stunned silence. Quantum gravity and space-time manipulation. The implications were staggering. They seem to compress and expand space-time, the scientist continued, enabling near-instantaneous turns, short-range warps, and impossible accelerations. Our sensors couldn't track them properly because they weren't moving through space. They were reshaping it. Vahax felt a chill run down his spine. His officers exchanged anxious glances. If humanity had achieved this level of technological mastery, they could bypass every defense the Federation relied upon. "This isn't just a new weapon," Vahax muttered. "This is a paradigm shift." The council room grew tense as realization dawned. Humanity, once dismissed as a minor nuisance, had surpassed the Federation in ways no one had anticipated. All their assumptions, their strategies, were now useless. Pax addressed his communications officer. "Prepare a transmission to High Command. They need to know what we're facing." Moments later, Vahax's grim message echoed across the Federation. "The human fleet has demonstrated unprecedented technological capabilities. They are using quantum gravity and space-time manipulation to dismantle our forces. This is more than a tactical loss. This is a shift in the balance of power. Immediate action is required." The message sent shock waves through the Federation. High Command. In an emergency session, council members debated their response. Some demanded retaliation to reassert dominance. Others cautioned restraint, fearing the consequences of underestimating humanity again. Ultimately, the Federation resolved to treat humanity as a serious threat. They would deploy spies to study human culture, psychology, and technology, while pouring resources into countermeasures and alliances. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. As preparations began, a wide-spectrum transmission from Earth echoed across the galaxy. Its message was simple. You underestimated us once. Do not make the same mistake again. The words lingered, a calm but chilling declaration of intent. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars, and they would not be dismissed again. For VHAX, the meaning was clear. This wasn't the end of the conflict. It was just the beginning. The Federation would have to adapt or risk being swept aside by a force they had once considered insignificant. Humanity had changed the rules of the game, and now the Federation had no choice but to play by them.